We got little Bishop just hanging out here. She's gonna get super loud here in a little bit. But anyways, today what I'm going to be doing to the car is I'm gonna go ahead and install pretty much my fuel setup inside the engine bay that I need to do. So I'm gonna install the fuel rails that I had on before. I'm gonna go ahead and do the injectors as well, and pretty much just tie in the feed side of the fuel setup and the return side as far as it comes to anything on top of the engine. As far as fuel lines goes, I can't really do that just yet because I need to wait on the mounts to get here so I can mount up the fuel lines on the actual rail of the actual frame of the car. So once I get those in, I'll be able to actually finish up the whole setup. But for now, let me show you guys what I have. So I have my feed lines and I have my return lines, and then I have all my hardware needed to install my fuel rails. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on there and throw on the injectors as well, which I need to grab from my room. And we're gonna go ahead and throw them onto the car, tighten everything up, and then we should pretty much be good here. And that's pretty much all we're gonna be doing today. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do about the belt. Might get a shorter belt just for a temporary fix and then go from there. So all right, let's get on with this. Little Luna's awake right now, and she's been so active lately. Can't wait to throw these things on there. Get my car tuned for E85. It's gonna be crazy. All right, so here we have the injectors. Oh man, it's so beautiful. So they already come with O-rings. Essentially, when you throw these on, you want to make sure you put oil on the top and on the bottom ring so that way they seal and do not get torn apart when you throw them on there. So we're gonna go ahead and throw these on first and then move on to the fuel rails. I'm gonna go ahead and actually clean up the TGBs as well because I don't know what type of dust and debris may have gotten in there. So I'll clean that up and then we'll throw on the injectors in there and then put the fuel rails on top and tighten them down. Just clean them up nice and well in there. Get anything that could have possibly gotten in there. It's like the last thing you want is dirt and debris getting inside of your head. So just clean them real well. This should be good for this one. All right, cool. All right, so now that those are all clean, I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil around the O-rings for the injectors and then stick them in there. All right, so the O-rings are all oiled up. So now you can go ahead and start dropping it in there. There you go, so one is dropped. I feel like this seal might be a little loose, but we'll check and see once it's actually like tightened down and see if it feels okay. But there's one there, and then here's the second one. Let's go ahead and throw that in there as well. All right, I'm sitting in there really well. Let's see here. Yeah, so they're supposed to sit in there pretty flush apparently. Yeah, 'cause this one's sitting in there very nicely. Let's see here, let's try to figure out what exactly the issue is. Oh, that is not good. And there was another grommet in there. All right, so that would have been a very, very bad time. So there's still a gasket in there, so we're gonna go ahead and pull that one out. Ha! This is not good at all. Make sure you don't have any grommets laying in there because that's obviously gonna play a big part whether as to if it'll actually seat in there or not. So that's why it wasn't really fitting on there correctly. It's always good to double check for sure. And just make sure this one's okay. Yeah, this one's definitely okay. So once you got that on there, go ahead, drop the injector in. And there you go. That one's sitting all nice and flush now. So this right here should be okay to be tightened down. Yeah, and the way that I do the injectors is I put them in sideways. That way the adapters or the actual harness gets in there easier. So that's just how I do them. So I'm gonna leave those like that and throw the fuel rails on there and then pretty much go on forth from there. So I'm gonna go grab those real quick and then we'll continue on forth with this whole setup here. Okay, so here I have my fuel rail My little causer fuel rail. I freaking love these. These are so nice. So we're gonna go ahead and drop those over on top of the injectors. So make sure your injectors are lined up, of course. These are kind of a pain to get on there just because of the little spacers that they have. That one's lined up, and then the other one's lined up now. Typically, if you don't have this hose on there, it'll make your life a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hand tighten it real quick. There you go. There you go, this one's all hand tightened now. So I went ahead and just got all the hoses out of the way, disconnected this one, just rotated it out to the side. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna go ahead and tighten them. Doesn't have to be a really crazy torque setting. So you can go ahead and tighten them down. Like I said, they don't have to go to an extreme force. Nothing too crazy, because then you will have problems if you do over tighten them. All right. I think that right there should be okay for that one. All right, so it looks like it keeps just going and going. So and the thing about like injectors, guys, is that if they start leaking, it's an easy fix. You literally just loosen them, move them around until they completely seal. So you know, if you get a leaking injector, it's not a big deal. Unless, I understand if you have the stock fuel rails, those are kind of a pain in the ass for sure. But for those of you guys that have the aftermarkets, it should be all right. Just don't go too crazy with torquing them. Just tighten them pretty snug, and then once they're snug enough, then you should be okay. And then obviously, don't run the car just yet until you make sure that your injectors are seated properly, and make sure you don't have any leaks of fuel or any oil or anything like that, like you do crank it. But that should be pretty much it for installing this side. So now I'm gonna move over to the other side and do the same process here. All right, so on this side, we're gonna do the same process as the other one. I'm gonna take these little napkins I had in there out. Looks like that one's clean. And this one is clean as well. So now that I know that there aren't any gaskets in there, I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning those off. All right. Just make sure there isn't any dust or debris in there. Another one right here. All right, so now those are cleaned off, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my other two injectors, oil them up and put them in there, and then we should be all set to go afterwards. You know, tighten down, don't go anything too crazy. And yeah, so let's continue on forth with this. So now that these are all oiled up, go ahead and drop them in there. Drops in there very nicely now. I'm gonna do the same one for this. Drops in there very nicely also. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other ones. I think this one right here, I think I might actually just rotate it towards the front of the car, just to make the harness look a little bit cleaner. Let's see here, I need to think about how this is all gonna be routed through. So I have the harness here, and then I do believe this one right here is going to be for the injector. I can route it under maybe. I'll probably route it through the side. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this injector kind of facing towards the actual front of the car. So we'll leave that one like that, and we'll go ahead and grab the fuel rail and then torque these things down. Now that we have the other fuel rail here, go ahead and try to line these up to the injectors. Let's see here, lined up. Cool. So now we'll go ahead and line these up to TGV and just hand tighten them on there. Just thread it on. So nothing too crazy there. Do the same. This one right here. And we're gonna do the same process. Go ahead and start the one side here. Cool. So nothing too crazy. You pretty much have to keep doing it until they line up. And the thing about these fuel rails is that they have these spacers here. So you gotta make sure that the spacers line up. So I need to back this one out now, because it is not. There you go, so now it's lined up. This one right here is not lined up. Now it's lined up, so. Which is kind of cool with these Cosworth ones, because it kind of serves as a guide. so that way they're getting on there pretty straight. You want to keep doing each side at a time. Just make sure it's getting on there evenly, because you will feel it start to loosen as you go. So kind of leave that one at that. And leave that one at that for now. So there you go. Spacers are all flat now. Everything's all looking well there. Take those off this real quick. So these are all flat now. These are laying in there nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off these A and fittings as well, and then we'll go ahead and actually plumb in the A and fittings with the little Y fittings that I have on there as well, and go from there. So far this is looking pretty good. After this, I'm just gonna have to worry about the actual cutting of the fuel and feed and fuel return, bolt them onto the actual frame of the car. And then that whole back section of the car is done. You need to wire in the hop switch, which I wasn't able to do on that last video. And I believe the car should be ready to run, other than getting the belt on there. So yeah, I think we're pretty close, guys. We're really, really close. So can't wait to get this thing running. It's gonna be sounding so insane. That turbo is massive. This thing is insane, it's so sick. Like, a 3584 RS, these things are freaking nuts. So yeah, I can't wait to get this thing running and see how much power it's gonna make off those 2150s, the dual Walbro 450s, and that turbo setup. So let's continue on forth with the whole top side of the engine fuel line setup going on, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got my two fuel feeds here. They are the same length. That is essentially what you want in a parallel fuel setup. You want them to be around the same length. So I'm gonna go ahead and start threading it on there. So that one is all threaded on. I'm gonna thread this one on there as well. There we go. These are all on there, and I'm gonna have these going to a Y fitting. I actually might have to change these out and put some straights in there. I didn't really think about that. So yeah, so we got these two on there, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the Y fitting, and that should connect to both of these fuel feeds together. And pretty much it shouldn't be anything else that's like crazy going on over here. Go ahead and throw the fuel return side as well while we're at it. So I'm gonna go grab those real quick. Throw this one on. This one's on there. I don't really like the way this one was sitting though. I'll have to double check on that one. So probably have a 90. Let's see here. Yeah, probably do 90, 90, and same thing for this one. Whatever changes I need to do, at least I can go ahead and just do them on the fly and just do them while we're already here. So I think what I'm gonna do, instead of having these 90s on there, I'm probably just do them all as straights. Since they're gonna be going into like a Y connector anyways, just do these as straights and then pretty much call it a day there. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo these. It's easy to redo them, so it's really no biggie there. And we'll go ahead and get some straights and pretty much call it a day from there. So yeah, let's get to it. So I went ahead and swapped over to just some straights. So this is how this is going to end up being. So I have one tied in here to this Y, so it's actually an adapter for a -8 to -6. So this is how this is gonna sit right here. So we have the Y adapter fitting, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably just route it right here like so. And then as far as the other two go, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out how exactly I'm going to do the other ones, and then pretty much go from there. I'm trying to make this as clean as I can, so I'll probably have those sitting there. And then these, I'm probably gonna shorten these two fuel lines here, and probably just keep the 90s on there. So I feel like if I have the 90s, so I have these two right here, and then have them connecting over with like a 90, I feel like that would probably look a little cleaner. Or maybe if I just do some straights, I mean the straights will probably just do the job. Just get them connected to the Y here and have those feed back to the return. Probably just end up doing that. But so far, I mean, everything's looking pretty good. I might have to shorten these a little bit just to clean it up. And yeah, I mean, everything's looking really, really good. I'm actually really liking the way this is really turning out. So we'll continue on forth with this. All right, so we are back, and went ahead and got these fuel fittings all redone. So just pretty this on there real quick. Let's see how I'm gonna do the orientation on this. Do this right in here. So yep, literally going towards the angle that I want it to, because I'm gonna have the fuel lines coming in through this side right here, right across this hose. So yeah, everything's looking good here. Actually turned out a lot better than I was actually expecting it to. So yeah, so this should be good for the whole fuel setup now. Everything's cut to length, everything's all even. So this is all set here. I think that pretty much sums it up for the fuel rails and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how this is all gonna look. So if you guys can see here, you have the fuel lines coming on out, and they're both going to be coming in through here. I'm going to be angling them towards this side right here, so that way the fuel lines have a path and don't have to be all caught up with all this crazy stuff in between. So yeah, this came out actually really good, really good. Like I said, I haven't tightened all of them yet because I'm still gonna see how I'm gonna mock them all up. But yeah, so far this is not bad. This is actually pretty good. So probably gonna keep them like that and call it a day there. But yeah, that checked out fine here. There's not really much else for me to do here, so I think that is going to be pretty much it. The hop switch, I'm going to go ahead and get that wired up on the same day that I'm going to get these all set and done. It's just that I don't want to deal with this just yet. I need to figure out how I'm going to actually put that on the intake manifold, because I still need to see how that's all going to go. But so far everything's looking good here. And that pretty much sums it up for today on what we're doing to the GC. So I will update you guys with another video when I go ahead and get more stuff done. But yeah, I mean, everything's turning out pretty well. You know, I have a few challenges every now and then with this car, but it's nothing too crazy that I can't go ahead and just take care of. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Please like the video and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm maybe trying to put out as many videos as I can. And also, if you want to check out my Instagram, it is loups.us. You can see everything from beginning to end to where it's currently at now. Literally the whole life of the car is on there. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching. You guys take care. Have a blessed day. Peace.